Hi guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Sorry, we've got the Fender acoustic back on the bench. We've repaired the headstock. We have repaired the bridge where it was delaminating, and we have cleaned up the guitar. We did the frets and everything. You saw that in the last video. Where we're going today is restringing it and finishing the setup. Oh, in the last video, of course, we cut down the saddle a little bit. That should give us some better string action. I'm hoping it was enough. If it's not, then we're going to have to go a little farther. Come along for the ride, and let's get to work. And you know the drill. I got to get my camera set. And hopefully it will. This thing has been not wanting to refocus lately, and I don't know why. There she goes. Okay, all I had to do was stick my thumb in the lens. So we were not able to save his strings, but I got him a new set of strings, and I'm actually going to send him home with a second set of strings for next time, because I semi-promised him that I would try to save the other strings. Not my fault, and it was pretty clear maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't, but I'm doing him a solid. I like to take care of my customers and make them feel good. We also got, and if you remember from the previous video, he didn't have this neat little tool. I needed to replenish my bridge pegs for acoustic guitars. I got a set of black and a set of white. I think we're going to go with the black ones on this. Now this is going to be kind of a moment of truth, because his were, well, let's just say damn. He got to grinding on him with a pick because he didn't have a tool, and not only that, he didn't realize that, oh, I can just stick my hand, loosen all the strings, and go in through here. So we showed that in the last video as well. It's okay. Now he knows, or he will know, when I give his guitar back to him and it's playing like a dream. Sometimes I use these tools, sometimes I don't. They should just pop out freely. It's the string tension that holds them in position more than anything. They don't have to be hammered down into the hole like these were. So this is going to be a moment of truth. Let's just dry fit them and see how far down they go. Yeah, see, that's beautiful. And then, you know, when it gets in there, it's nice and firm, and you just kind of use a little pry tool that's designed for that. And you just push it in and it pops right out. Some of these were hammered so far down in the hole you couldn't even see the peg. It was level with the bridge. And I was concerned that he munched out the holes so bad that this wasn't going to work at all, but I can see they should stick out like that. That is what they're supposed to look like. The camera can see that, but okay, so I think we're going to be okay. These were the worst ones. That one especially, that was one I had to stick my hand through to get it out. So once we put the strings through there, they just kind of, you put the string through there, and you get it to pull up to where the end of the string hits that, and it pulls it down tight. It's not going to go anywhere. All you got to do is, that's it. You push it down in there, and when you wind it, the string tension holds it in there. And then later on, you use a little tool to get in there. Just kind of push it in there, and it's wedged. So it's designed for that, and it's nylon plastic type, so it doesn't mar up your bridge. So I just want to double check my work. 0.4 of an inch, which is just, let's say it's damn thin. A little bit of spot right there. Not enough for it to really go in. Yeah, it was really bad on this corner, and it was really bad on this corner. So nothing's happening there now. We're going to be good. I am confident. I have confidence. Let's get back over here a little bit so we're clearer in the movie. Last video we cleaned and dressed the frets. We treated the fretboard itself. I did a little bit of fret eraser, but really these frets are not in bad shape at all. They're fine. They don't need anything to be. Don't grind on them unless you absolutely have to, because all you're doing is you're sanding off a little bit each time you do that. You see me do it, and when I decide to do it, it's because there's markings on there, or from the strings, or tarnish, and that will catch when you're playing. So you got to be careful not to get on there and sand it every time. You don't need to every time. Come out of there, you. So strings, and these are the exact strings that he had on the guitar before. I believe that these are all the same. They are. There are no different ones for the smaller strings. As I said, you kind of put the ball end down in there and then go to town up at the other side. Now, previous video, of course, we tightened up everything, cleaned up everything. I've cleaned the neck. I've done the headstock repair. I cleaned up the body. I think we're ready to go ahead and do strings on this. And these are Diodarios, and oh yeah, they do give you the color. I used to use Diodarios, but I use a different brand now on my basses. Or have a drink on your bench while you're working. So let's start with low E is brass. Low E is brass, and then A. So E and A are together here. You can see them. You can see the thickness of them. So we're going to start with the E string. Leave the A string there. Now what we're going to do is just kind of get it started in the hole. Let me get my bionic eyes on, because I don't trust anything that I can't see beautifully. And of course, you're probably going to see the top of my head. Bear with me. Where'd you go? String there. Low E. That's it. That's all it takes. You do not have to hammer that in any way, shape, or manner. It actually makes a little noise as it's going in there. There's a little ridge cut in the side of it. You want the string to be in there, and the ball end will be underneath. And it should just barely be at the bottom of it, which it is. And if you take your time and pay attention, once you push it in there, that's it. That's as far as it needs to go. Let's get our saddle out here that we did so much work on the other day. Do that. Saddle is going to go in there like so, and we did cut that down. I apologize for my head. So nothing changes the way you string this guitar up. As far as other tutorials, other videos I've showed you, try to get all your string holes in the machine tuning pegs facing in the same direction as the strings come up, so that they're easier to apply. Get them in there, and what you're going to do, and you've seen this a million times, get it started. You get my string winder. And you're going to go string is going to live here. It lives here, it goes over the saddle, and it will find its own home there, and the strings will hold the saddle in place. It's going to live here, one, maybe a little bit past on the heavy strings. As you go farther down and the strings get thinner and thinner and thinner, you're going to want to go a little bit farther, so that, remember, we're looking for break angle and being able to get the proper number of wraps on the tuning peg, which for me is always minimum of 3. So 1, 2, I'm going to go just a little bit shy of 2, bend it, and back. The first wrap goes where? Above the string. All successive wraps go underneath. One, two, three, and starting of 4. These are actually really thick strings. Should be okay there. If I have too much there, I can take it off later. We're going to move to the A string. I can already tell that our action is going to be a little bit better because we cut down our saddle. It looks like we're living where we need to live there. Follow your slot and let the peg push the string into the hole. It's going to live here. 1, 2. Bend. Through, stop at the bend, commence winding. We're not going to try to tune it just yet, but just like everything, every time we string, we're looking for that break angle. Now, on some guitars, the headstock actually tilts down and gives you a natural break angle, but so far we're looking good. I'm going to pause it, put the other strings on there. You don't need to see every moment of that. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. We restrung it, got all the new bridge pegs in, and you can notice that they set up where they're supposed to be. When I got it, they were jammed down in there. And I can already tell, almost without measuring it, that we're going to be happier with the string height, but we're going to measure that in just a moment. But before we do that, we may now, after doing all this repair, have to reset the neck relief. And just like every guitar, that's an important step in a setup. Make sure we're in the movie here. Capo at the first fret, grab it at the body joint, and you want somewhere around the 7th to 8th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should be 12 thousandths, and it's really tight. It's really tight. So we're going to have to get back in there and adjust that. Now, I'm not surprised at that because we had a neck that was cracked and it was giving some flex. We had a bridge that was delaminating, so between the string tension pulling on the cracked headstock and pulling on the bridge that was basically coming loose, we had all kinds of weird measurements. So I'm going to try to get a little more neck relief in this. Stand by, let me get the right tool. So we have the right wrench in there. I'm right now in the process of loosening the strings, and again, you know where this is going. We have to loosen because it's too tight. That means the neck is too straight, because I had put it in a straight condition, so this does not surprise me at all. I just want to loosen these strings off. We're going to detune it, get these strings loose enough that we can get them out of the way, because that truss rod adjustment is all the way up in here, and I don't have an extra long L-shaped wrench, so I put it in like so. Now, left is loose, right is tight. So what we're going to attempt to do, and this is going to be trial and error, this is the truss rod gambit. We're going to try to loosen it. I think I'm going to go slightly more because it was really, really close. I'm going to take a wild guess, and that sometimes this is guessing. Because the guitar was going to sit for so long, which it did while I was performing the repairs, I didn't want the neck in any kind of a bend at all. I set it in a straight condition. Now we're going to have to get it back to the proper relief. And this is a little bit of a lottery. Get tuned back up the pitch and check that string neck relief again. And again, the only reason that we're loosening the strings is to get the wrench in there and be able to This is always fun. But it is what it is. This is the life of a guitar work. Luther, get on the guitar, detune it, put the strings on, do whatever you got to do. I don't think I took that. Yeah, I did the B for no reason. Let's get that guy tuned back up too. We know we only have to do the A, D, and G next time. Hey, the high E stayed in tune. Alright, let's check it out. Capo. That should have gotten us some neck relief. Unless I went the wrong way. I've been known to go the wrong way. Still really tight. Don't like it that tight. Alright, I'm going to putz around with this. This could be ongoing for a little while, again, because I had the neck set in such a straight condition. I got to get a bow back in it, and this could take a little bit of while. Detuning, adjusting the truss rod, detuning, adjusting the truss rod, and so forth. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. That's what somebody else calls, this is not my term, It's called the truss rod lottery. You have to keep adjusting it and adjusting it until you get where you want to be, especially if you've done what I did, which was set this neck completely straight because it had no string tension on it. So I made several adjustments off camera while I had you on pause. And at the 7th fret, we are at 12 thousandths, just kissing the string. And that is a standard adjustment. I don't care if you're playing a bass guitar, a 6-string acoustic, an electric guitar. Even if you're playing a 5-string bass, you would check the low B string. If you're playing a 7-string guitar, and yeah, that's a thing, they're out there. I don't know why, but they are. You capo at the 1st fret, grab the body joint, and at the 7th to 8th fret, you're looking for 12 thousandths of an inch feeler gauge, which is exactly where we're at. And let's check our tuning. E. Beautiful. Mid-level guitar. It's not an entry level, it's a mid-level, I would consider it. The intonation is dead on. And that's tricky to change that because you're changing the distance between the nut where the string runs over the nut slot and where it runs over here. On electric guitar and other instruments, there's screws and you can do that adjustment. On these, you can't. The only way to do that is to move this bridge and delaminating that. They got that part right. Beautiful. One last check, and I remember when I initially started with this guitar, the string action was so tall, so high, I think I said you could drive a car under it. And I remember we sanded down and took off some of our saddle to lower that string action, and we fixed this and the neck. I'm going to say, without looking, I'm going to guess that we're, just by going like this, I can tell we're closer. If we're going to be happy, I don't know yet. Let's check it out. It is still tall for my liking by about a 64th. They're all sitting at 6. The E string's a little taller, but before we were at almost 3 millimeters. Where are we here? It calls for 2.25 millimeters, which it's negotiable. It's so close. It is so close to where it needs to be that it doesn't warrant de-stringing it and taking this out and cutting it down, because along with that little process you have to be careful just how far down you're going. I could, but I'm going to give it back to him and I'm going to let him play it for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to ask him how it feels. If he still thinks that that string action is too high, which is impossible considering how high it was when I first got it, it was almost a full 1.5 millimeters too high. Now it's only maybe less than 0.5 millimeter too high, which is negotiable on an acoustic guitar. I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments about that, but at this point, I put so much work and effort into this guitar, and he wants it back, and I want to give it back to him tomorrow. I'm going to let him play it. and I guarantee he's going to tell me that it has never felt like this before. And it's going to be far more stable because the bridge isn't pulling up and the neck, isn't flexing up here, the headstock where the crack was, because we secured that, glued it, cemented it, and it's not going to move again. So I'm just going to give it another quick wipe down, and we're going to give this guitar back to him. I'm going to call it done. If he still thinks that the action could be lower, I have no problem de-stringing it and cutting his saddle down another 0.5 millimeter. I left, when I put my mark on there, I left the pencil mark. If I had gone down and disappeared my original pencil mark, our measurements would be exactly perfect here at the 12th fret. So, but remember, I took just over 1 millimeter off of that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge in string action. Okay, so I'm sure he's going to be very happy with it. Thanks for coming along for the ride. I'm Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We'll talk soon.